Welcome back, and we have a great guest for us today, and that is Rollin Pizzala from Alderperson District Number 11. Rollin, nice to see you today. All right, so let's hear about it. You are an alderperson. Maybe those who don't know what an alderperson does, what is the role of an alderperson in the city of Kenosha?
Well, Alderperson is Alder districts are split up in 17 districts in Kenosha, and my district is from 60th Street to 52nd Street between 31st Avenue and 52nd Avenue. Now, those are the constituents who believe that you will represent them, and that's what I try to do is represent my constituents. We take complaints, most a lot of them about neighbor against neighbor, and some things we haven't had so much of. Some things that we're trying to do in the district. I have one that's coming up that's kind of a little bit controversy, but not too much. I've actually went to people and talked to them about something they might have been doing wrong, and I say I'm the alderperson of the district. What? What's that? And I try to explain. And I say I'm on city council, then they understand a little more when you say you're on the city council. But a lot of people do not understand what alderperson is. I don't know I know most cities, like a lot of people come from Illinois up here. Well, Keegan has alderpersons too, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
How can an alderperson help the residents of the district?
Well, I help them. Sometimes I go through the district and look at stuff that's not right, like grass, tall grass, and sometimes I just wait for somebody to call me and make a complaint, because when you walk around and you look in people's yards, you can only look from the sidewalk. Just take an overall view of the neighborhood. Because people get a little excited about some stranger walking around. A lot of people know me. Some people like me, some people don't like you because you do write up complaints. One of the biggest things is the bulk pickup for garbage. City of Kenosha is one of the few cities that offer free bulk pickup 4 times a year. But we have a lot of rentals that people move in, and they don't know the rules, and they just throw anything out on the curb and think it's going to disappear. Well, metal and stuff will disappear by scrap people that run around. But there's mattresses and couches that sit out there for 2 weeks that they don't call it in. And that brings the neighborhood down, for looks and upkeep.
I know that you sit on committees or commissions. Every alderperson does. What committees or commissions do you sit on?
I sit on the Safety and Welfare and the Parks Committee. And safety welfare is animal control, stop signs. Sometimes it's hard to get stop signs in the city. The animal control, I've had some very bad situations because we've got pit bull dogs that bit somebody. And when we have those, they come to safety and welfare after the medical examiner or the health department deems them vicious if they have bitten someone. And the last 2 that came our committee, we had an old gentleman that was probably almost 80 or in his 80s. He had 4 of them that got loose. Somebody kept opening his gate, and that one killed a dog in the street. We've seen the videos of it, and I made the decision to take the dog, euthanize it. It was a hard decision because I'm a dog lover. And the last one, it was a 7-year-old kid, which I predicted that would happen someday. There was a 7-year-old kid got bit in the scrotum, and he was still hurting when he was at the meeting, and we had to put that one to sleep.
Wow.
So those are tough decisions.
Let's hear about the parks in Kenosha.
I think we have 72 parks, if I remember right.
72. Wow.
We have to, a lot of our park stuff comes up as people want to use the parks for special occasions and stuff, that we vote on giving the permits for that. Like the Noyer Park, and let's see,
Like for weddings or
yeah,
birthdays?
weddings
Yeah.
or they can reserve space so they have the park and other people can't be in the park, the shelter areas.
Oh.
Something like Petrifying Springs does, same thing.
Beautiful Dream Playground Park. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
There's a lot to tell about that.
Okay, well, that's what we're here
I was on the committee when we built the playground, and I was in it from beginning to end. And it's sad that we have people come into the community that want to destroy things. And we used to have, what was the name they called it? We had a group of people that used to go over and monitor it.
for. Oh, okay.
People, so make sure kids behave themselves more or less. But it fell apart because a lot of people work and a lot of people didn't want to take the time. But we're trying to keep the thing up because we spent $1 million for that playground. We wanted to keep it in good shape. The thing that I have a problem with is that I think it was built too far back from the street, and when the police go through there, they don't get out of their car and walk back and see if there's anybody in there. We wanted to put sensor lights in there, and they were supposed to be that way, so if somebody's in there after closing time at 10 o'clock, the lights would come on, and the police would know somebody was in there. But some kids a couple of years ago climbed the pole and rewired the wires, so the lights stay on all the time. That could be a good thing, and it could be a bad thing. Me and Tammy Conforti, we go over there on 4th of July to keep people out there from shooting fireworks off, because we don't want to set the park on fire. And this recent 4th of July, we was over there, and we chased 3 people out with shooting. As soon as they got in the driveway, right in the parking lot, they were shooting them off. And we got those out. Then we had some more out in the dark part of Petsky Park. They were cooperative, they left. But then we had 2 groups coming in. One was from one side and one was from the other side. And there was some kids about 12, 13 years old. And we were wearing City of Kenosha t-shirts. And they come over and asked us what we were doing in the park. And about that time, we went to see the other people to tell them they couldn't be in the park. We come back, the kids were gone, but I could hear some noise somewhere. I heard some noise. They shot a bottle rocket off and landed right in the middle of the playground.
Oh.
And that floor in there is very
Yeah,
expensive.
oh, absolutely.
You know, we was worried about it catching on fire because it's made out of some kind of material that could burn easy. I couldn't find the kids. I had a spotlight, and I looked all the way around, and they disappeared. So,
You know, that brings up another question, since we're past 4th of July, but what is the policy on fireworks with that?
They're
Like, can anybody?
totally illegal in the
That's what I
state
thought.
of Wisconsin.
State of
Besides, the
Wisconsin.
city puts out a notice every 4th of July that what goes up, goes boom, is illegal.
Wow.
I've been trying to work with this state, trying to get the legislators to ban them from sales. Illinois has done it. We haven't got that far yet. The store up in Caledonia, they sell them. They sell them permits, which aren't any good after they leave there. Fireworks 20 years ago weren't as big as they are now. They sell these. It's if they can't close the store down, I'd like to see them at least eliminate the size of what sizes of fireworks, because we see things. A couple years ago, I went over to the playground. There's a bunch of people shooting bottle rockets off, and these huge, I guess they call them cannons almost.
Yeah,
And one was this tall, and that's the loud boom ones you hear at 3 o'clock in the morning.
yeah.
And I've been still working on it. We'll be working on it as long as I'm Alderperson, is trying to get somebody to change the system we do. Because what people don't know, and I didn't know until I started researching it, there's a lot of pollution that comes out of fireworks that go into the lake. And if you go out at 12 o'clock at night on 4th of July, there's just a cloud of smoke over the whole city. It's just like a fog, you know.
So in theory, if your neighbor is shooting off fireworks, real big ones that are illegal, if they're going up, then could you call the police to get them over to talk?
I went to one person's house and he said, "Oh, I have a permit to shut them off till 10 o'clock." I said, "No, we don't have permits."
Oh,
And that's where I found out how I found out that the place up in Caledonia sells permits. That's they have to actually stiffen the people with the permits because they're no good once they leave the property.
Okay.
But I have called the police a few times. The guy across the street from me, he was shooting them off, and the police come over, and I said, "Well, there should be some burn marks on the sidewalk." And turned out there wasn't. And my wife says, "Well, why didn't you show them your Ring doorbell camera?"
Yeah.
Sure enough, there's a nice picture there.
Yeah, right.
And that's what the police have a hard time catching them because they do them. I live across the street from apartments, and they do them in the back parking lot over there. And they said they have to see them shoot them off, or they have to see them light them before they can actually write a ticket. That's a little, strong, I think. If the people are standing there's fireworks, somebody shooting them off. This year, I'm lucky they didn't burn the McKinley school down before they have to tear it down because they had a big show over there in the parking lot. There was debris all over the place. I got pictures on my camera of it. And it was a neighborhood thing. And it's got to the point that people know that, well, if they don't see me shooting them off, they don't enforce it that much, we can get away with it. I don't mind the smaller, what used to be the smaller ones,
Yeah.
M80s, cherry bombs, whatever.
Sure.
But now they're huge, and you can hear them miles away.
Well, we talked about that issue. When you get calls from your constituents, what issues do come up, and what, generally, or?
Well, I get issues. There's a drug house down the street. I see a lot of different people going in and out. I can't do anything about that. I can call Kenosha Drug K-Dog and see if they're doing any investigation. I can't walk up to the door and say, "Hey, are you doing drugs?" and knock it off, because I'd be interfering with, there may be somebody watching the house already. And
Would that be like for the police department for them to call, or just not do anything?
well, no, what it does is you have to, if you know of a drug house, and some people get overzealous about people having too many people come to their house saying it's drugs, but it could just be, the guy knows a lot of people.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so, and drug bust takes a long time. They have to have surveillance of the house, and they have to take months, to get enough evidence to go to court. And it happens, every now and then, and it's something that doesn't happen overnight. And most other complaints I get is neighbor against neighbors about fences and tall grass, weeds in their yards. And I got one over here on 39th Avenue. A woman thinks I'm supposed to be the intermediate fix-it person. I said, that's not quite my job. That's a civil matter. She had a fence leaning, and she'd been there 37 years. And the neighbor died, and somebody else come in the house, and they don't like each other. So the fence was leaning, and I rolled it up. The city inspection comes over there. They inspect it and make them fix it to stand straight within what the ordinance says. So instead of fixing this one, the guy took it down. And they both have dogs. This woman has Dobermans, and I don't know what his dog is, but now you don't have a fence, so that's, I don't have to explain the rest of it, right?
Kind of neat about your district, or what I looked at, when you're talking, by 39th Avenue and 52nd Street, that's kind of where, at a time, that was the heart of Kenosha. Especially shopping, you had Kmart, Shopko, Walmart, So how is the business or industry there today?
Well, I'm kind of disappointed with it because Walmart and Kmart and Save a Lot.
Yeah, Shopko, that's right.
Shopko, but mostly Kmart and Walmart and Save a Lot, they all moved out because the neighborhood behind is not the greatest. It's a little bit down, I don't know what I want to say. And people were cutting holes in the fence. There's apartments back there. And they're cutting holes in the fence, and they come and shoplifting, and they run back in the dark. In the dark back there behind, there was no lights back there before. And so we can't, all the grocery stores left. They said it was bothering their bottom line. So I went, and they decided, well, we're going to put a storage place there. Well, one wasn't bad, but now we got three. Shopko came out and Walmart, not Walmart, just three of them anyway. And what they did, they painted the walls back there white. They put LED lights back there. Now recently O'Reilly went in the Save-A-Lot, and I worked there. I got a part-time job there.
All right.
But I requested that they not onboard their windows until they were ready to open or had lights in the parking lot. And then we wanted them to put a solid fence back in the back where the delivery trucks would come in. And they did that. They put a solid fence. Now that prevents people from cutting holes in the fence and coming through.
So you're alderperson of the district. You got, complaints or ideas from the constituents. You represent the district. But let's say for yourself, you said you walk around the district. What would you like to see improve? If you have a magic wand, what would you like to see improved or added to your district in any such way? Does that ever come across your mind?
I would like to see I border Mr. Kennedy's district on 52nd Street, and we have a number of old 100-year-old buildings in this town. In fact, we've just had experience, which I think they're going to start looking at these old buildings with Kelly McKay. What happened there? Yeah. You gotta wonder what's a lot of other buildings are like now.
Gonna happen, yeah.
But when the election was going on, one of the things I spoke about with the other candidate was that 52nd Street is our main thoroughfare in downtown. We need a facelift on 52nd Street, because we need to somehow modernize a lot of things. And we do need grocery store. I can't put one on my side. I've been working on putting one on Kennedy's side, but he doesn't, when we talk grocery store, he just kind of shrugs me off. And I think that was something to do with when Walmart wanted to put the Walmart just a grocery store on 30th and 52nd, and they turned it down.
For me, a little clarification for it. When they give out licenses for liquors, isn't that my understanding there's so many to give out, or am I wrong on that?
Well, Wisconsin has a reputation of beer alcohol.
Yeah.
And it's, now I sit on the Parks Department, and they request liquor license for different events. I said, can we do nothing in this city that doesn't involve alcohol? And when I got on city council, I was going to vote no on all the gas stations, but I'd have to sit there and pick through them and take up council time to do that.
Okay.
So it's because they put them together, a bunch of them like that. You had to pick them out. But I'm totally against liquor in a gas station.
Was there any area of issues or interest in the city of Kenosha? It can either be in your district or the city of Kenosha that you'd like to bring up and talk about?
The district I'm in and everything from 75th Street to maybe Washington Road are different districts than like Rocco Lamake has got and what's her name?
We got Holly.
Holly,
Okay.
yeah. Those are far north, far south, I meant to say. And far north don't have the problems that we have in the central part of the city. Now, I've been working on closing the massage parlor. It's not that I'm targeting the, well, there was three things when I got elected, was closing my mind just went blank. The bar down by Lotus, next door to Lotus.
Lotus, okay.
MVT.
Okay.
That's what it was. Because there was always fights out there, rowdy customers. They bring people from Chicago and out and Milwaukee gangs would get there. They have fights out in the street, and there was a shooting there just before I got elected. So I did accomplish that. And the other thing was the massage parlor on 52nd Street. There used to be a lot of cars in there at nighttime, parked in the parking lot in the dark. And now, if you've seen the reports that Lee Enterprise put out in the Kenosha News about massage parlors about 3 weeks ago,
I didn't read that.
about trafficking and people bringing people from China to work at them. There was a 5-day articles that was all week about how massage parlors operate and how they bring the Chinese people in and they move them around all the time. They don't own cars, so they kind of live in some of these places. And I always thought that place was kind of shady up there, but we finally got it closed, but they're still trying to open it. I don't know why a guy who owns the building doesn't realize, okay, put something else in there.
Yeah.
It's
A grocery store. Well, then I will wrap up with the last question that I do with every alderperson, and that is, why should someone come to visit or live in the city of Kenosha?
I think it's a great place to live, and there was some doom and gloom when they closed Chrysler because it was an auto industry town, and they had all their apples in one basket. But I think it was a godsend when Chrysler closed because now the city got diversified, and we have different businesses. Problem is we have now is we have, should I say too many businesses? Like Uline and Amazon, and what we're bringing all these jobs in, and we have a shortage of houses. And then we go say, well, we're going to build affordable houses. My house, my wife bought it for $7,000. Now you're talking the average $325,000 for a house. It's unimaginable because the state of Wisconsin doesn't move the minimum wage. It's still $27.25, and it's been that way since 1996, I believe. And when you say $325 affordable housing, you gotta sit there and are you crazy? My house I built onto it. I bought a 1-bedroom house, and it's now a 4-bedroom house, 2-story.
Oh.
And I did all that work myself.
Oh, congratulations.
And my house is probably much stronger than some of these that built 6 months still. Because what I see all the time, I built my house and I let it sit for the framing, let it sit for a year before I did the drywall. Because the people that put the drywall on within 6 months, the house settles. Then you get cracks around the doorways and stuff like that. I don't have any cracks in my house at all. And that's because I let it settle before I did the drywall.
I want to thank Rollin Pizzala for coming on down, Alderperson of District 11, City of Kenosha, and thank you so much for talking with us today.
Okay.